What if I told you that Kamala Harris has lived in some of the most private and powerful homes in the United States? Homes that are full of history, wealth, and a few secrets. What's really shocking, though, is one thing about her house that will blow your mind. Can you guess? Is it a secret room in the ground? Some kind of secret path? What could be even stranger? We're about to find out. First, though, I want to know what you think the home of a vice president looks like. Huge lights and gold trim on everything? You could be shocked. Kamala's homes are all very interesting, from a very exclusive government house to a mansion in the middle of nowhere in California. The really shocking thing is that one of them knows something most people don't. Trust me, once you see it, you'll never look at her the same way again. Are you ready now? Come with me on a tour, but pay close attention because soon there will be a big reveal that you won't want to miss. To begin, we have Observatory Circle, a famous estate that is hidden from view in the middle of Washington, D.C. You may have heard of the White House, but did you know that this is where the vice president lived? Some of the most important people in American politics have lived in this mansion for decades. Has it been the site of secret political talks or private get-togethers with world leaders? Of course, most people don't know this, though. Inside these walls, there's a vice presidential custom that very few people have ever seen. What is it? We'll get to that, though. First, though, let's talk about Kamala Harris, who is the first woman, Black, and South Asian Vice President of the United States. As soon as Kamala took office, she made history. She not only held the title, but she also changed it. She led big policy initiatives and stood by President Joe Biden during world crises. You would think that her home would show how powerful she is, right? Not really, though. Number one, Observatory Circle seems classy and modest at first glance. There aren't any fancy gold ceilings or ballrooms here, just a calm, stately home with a long past. But don't be fooled. This house has some hidden things. It is amazing, but not as much as her personal home, which is where things really get interesting. Most people don't know this, though. Inside these walls, there's a vice presidential custom that very few people have ever seen. Do you want to know what kind of custom this is? Some very secret right of the government? A secret bunker buried deep? A secret shake of hands between vice presidents? We'll just say it's not what you'd expect. First, Observatory Circle isn't just another fancy government house. It's a place with strange customs, interesting past, and yes, a few secrets. Each VP has made their own mark over the years, some of which are pretty strange. Let's look at George H.W. Bush. For someone who is so close to becoming president, you'd think he would spend his free time reading policy papers. Not at all. He put in a horseshoe pit and a quarter-mile jogging track in the garden because, well, why just run the country when you can also practice your horseshoe throw? To make a house a home, Dan Quayle moved in with his young children, so they had to make changes to make it better for the family. The bedrooms were renovated and the building became easier to get to. It's not a huge change, but each vice president has their own objectives. Things got really interesting when Kamala Harris and Douglas Emhoff showed up. Something completely new was added to the vice presidential home for the first time in history. Can you guess? A private theater to see movies, a high-tech bunker for safety, a secret exit route? Not really. It's a mezuzah. Yes, Douglas Emhoff was the first second gentleman and the first Jewish husband of a U.S. president or vice president. It was the first time in history that a mezuzah was put on the entry of the house. Not only that, but he and Kamala also held the first known Passover Seder at their home. Just think about that. In a house that has hosted some of the most important people in U.S. The building saw history walk through its doors for the first time as part of a ritual. Do you not think that's a big deal? Now let's get back to the real secret. This house has another thing that no one likes to talk about. Have you ever heard rumors that there is a secret bunker under the home of the vice president? Some people say it's just a myth, while others say it was built after 9/11 while Dick Cheney was president. And let's be honest, Cheney would have a secret base more than any other vice president. What is the truth? Is there a real secret way to get out in case of an emergency, or is this just another Washington, D.C. conspiracy theory? There's no doubt that this house has been the site of many a secret, and even though it's not as fancy as the White House, it's just as interesting. If you think this is interesting, just wait until you see what's inside Kamala's home. Trust me, that's where things get interesting. What happens when one of the most important politicians in the world leaves the world's biggest stage? Where does someone like Kamala Harris go when the limousine stops following her and the cameras stop rolling? Where does she go when the weight of the Oval Office is no longer nearby? Harris's life has been anything but quiet since leaving the White House. She fought to make history again as she ran for vice president and then for president. It was hard work to be on the campaign trail, long nights, angry arguments, and a lot of political maneuvers. But after all the votes were cast, the White House door did not open for her this time. That being said, what does a former vice president who broke barriers and made history do now? Does she leave the public eye, stay out of the way, and disappear into her own life like other people have done before her? Oh no, Kamala. She did something instead that made everyone talk. She didn't hide away in a house in the woods to have a quiet time. She didn't run away to a Texas ranch in the middle of nowhere. She instead chose to live in Los Angeles, specifically in Brentwood, which is just as strong but in a very different way. There, power isn't judged by electoral votes but by the A-list billionaires and media moguls of Hollywood. Instead of presidential candidates, there are movie stars, and impact comes from big deals and special invites. And Harris? She's a good fit. Some of the most important people in business and show business live in her new neighborhood. Think about Arnold Schwarzenegger, LeBron James, and Gwyneth Paltrow. They are all very close by. There are gated estates, tall palm trees, and so little privacy that even the paparazzi have a hard time getting a picture. But the question is, why are we here? Why this house? She picked this multi-million-dollar retreat to stay in touch with power in a new way. Or is there something else going on inside these walls? A hidden feature that turns this house into more than just a fancy place to stay. Are you interested in what makes her house different from other multi-million-dollar homes? Let's go inside. Kamala Harris has a very successful job. We've also talked about her move to Brentwood and the rumors about a strange feature in her home. We should now go see the house for ourselves. Are you all set? What you're about to see isn't just a fancy place to stay, it's a statement. Someone who used to be vice president could only have a house like this one. Powerful, private, and high class. But first, let's think about what a house says about the person who lives there. Does it show who they are, what they want, or maybe even their secrets? Let's find out. Join me. We're going to Kamala Harris's home in Brentwood. What do you notice first? Safety. Unlike the homes of famous people, which have big gates and flashy entrances, Kamala's house is hidden from view. Even though it doesn't say, "Look at me," this house was made to please, but not in a screaming way. You might wonder who has been through this door before as we walk up to it. Political heavyweights, Hollywood stars, or maybe someone we wouldn't expect. Take a big breath now. We're about to go inside. Her home in Brentwood is the perfect example of modest luxury, with a perfect mix of comfort and style. The house is 3,500 square feet and has 4 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, so there is plenty of room to rest or hold small parties. The plan was carefully thought out to balance comfort and usefulness by making sure each room has a specific purpose and the whole house flows together. As soon as you walk in, you'll notice the warm modern style and tall glass walls let in a lot of natural light, making the space feel airy and welcoming. There's no over-the-top opulence here, just sleek, minimalist decor with personal touches. For example, framed photos of her historic swearing-in as vice president sit next to cherished family photos, giving the space a personal, heartfelt feel. And then there's the kitchen, which is the true heart of the home. Kamala Harris loves to cook, so this state-of-the-art kitchen with top-of-the-line appliances, marble countertops, and a large island is the perfect place for her. You can almost picture her here, making her famous mac and cheese recipe, which went viral on the internet. But the magic doesn't stop inside. Outside, there's a backyard oasis that looks like it belongs in a luxury resort. Lush plants, a resort-style infinity pool, and a cozy outdoor lounge make it the perfect place for her to relax, whether she's spending the evening alone or with close friends. This private haven is the best place to get away from the public eye, and security is always a top priority for her. The house has a high-tech surveillance system, motion sensors, and other high-tech security measures to protect Harris's privacy and peace of mind. She can let her guard down here, away from the constant scrutiny of the media and politicians. Remember when we talked about a feature in this house that's making people curious? Well, we're about to find out what it is. Some say there's a high-tech panic room designed for emergencies, while others think there's a secret meeting space where important people can get together away from prying eyes. What's really going on? What's really going on behind those walls is still a mystery, adding to the intrigue of a home that was already very interesting. So, picture this. You're walking through the star-studded streets of Brentwood, Los Angeles, past multi-million-dollar estates that are hidden behind tall hedges and iron gates. Kamala Harris's private retreat is so exclusive and well-guarded that even a misplaced step near the entrance could set off high-level security alerts. But how hard is it to get into her fortress, and what happened the one time the police had to rush in? Let's break it all down. First, Harris doesn't live in just any Brentwood home. This isn't your average celebrity hideaway with a fancy doorbell camera and a security guard stationed out front. This is the home of a former vice president of the United States, a woman who has seen some of the most secret information on the day. Harris's home is built like a stronghold, with high-tech cameras with facial recognition and motion sensors lining the property, and a gated entrance that only a select few can pass through. If you even linger near the wrong hedge, expect the police to show up. Official details on her security measures are kept secret for obvious reasons. There were reports of a possible break-in attempt at Harris's Brentwood home in early 2025. Within minutes, police were on the scene and detained two people who had gotten too close. There was no evidence of forced entry, but the quick response showed how tight her security really is. A simple curfew violation in the area was enough to get police on high alert, but Harris's security team also prepares for natural disasters because her neighborhood has seen major ones. Checkpoints were set up around her home, preventing even nearby residents from getting in. Some say this level of security goes beyond what's normal for former office holders. So what exactly is being protected behind those walls? When you think of a vice president's home, you might imagine something grand, steeped in history and carefully curated for state business. But Kamala Harris's Brentwood home is a different story. It wasn't chosen by security experts or political advisors. It was chosen by her herself a long time ago. In 2012, she became famous across the country. Her husband, Doug Moff, who was a top celebrity lawyer at the time, closed the deal on this beautiful Brentwood home in one of LA. Not just another fancy mansion in one of California's most exclusive neighborhoods, this one was a smart choice for privacy, comfort, and, let's be honest, a taste of Hollywood luxury. When Kamala and Doug got married in 2014, the house became part of their joint trust, changing it from Moff's bachelor pad to a shared retreat for the couple. At the time, Harris was California's attorney general and a rising star in politics. But the idea of living in even though they probably weren't thinking about it, fate made this Brentwood haven more than just a comfortable escape. It became her personal sanctuary from the chaos of politics. But the real question is whether her time in government housing, whether it was the vice president's residence or the historic Blair House, changed how she felt about her Brentwood home. The answer is a mixed bag. The security measures made her value privacy more than ever, but this house isn't for big diplomatic dinners or political posturing. It's where she relaxes, cooks her favorite comfort foods, and just be Kamala. Though Madam Vice President, rumors keep going around about a hidden feature in the house that may have been added after her political rise. Whatever it is, getting anywhere near it would be very hard. Is Harris's Brentwood home just a luxurious retreat? Or is there more to it than meets the eye? You be the judge. Rumors have been going around about a highly classified feature that hasn't been disclosed in Harris's Brentwood home. Something so secret that only a few people know about it. This may sound impossible, but remember that Secret Service agents don't just disappear overnight. Even after leaving office, Harris is still under strict. It's not just security. There are motion detectors, infrared cameras, armed guards around the clock. And this isn't just security, it's a lockdown. And here's where things get even more suspicious. Inside her home, past the fancy decorations and simple furniture, there's a secret door. Some say it leads to an underground bunker where famous people can meet in complete privacy. Others say it's a safe vault locked from the outside world that holds letters from powerful people, records of classified conversations, and documents that could change the political landscape if they were ever made public. We've seen this kind of setup before. In 2022, the FBI searched the Florida home of a former U.S. president for secret documents. Could Harris's security be hiding something similar? Think about it. This home isn't just about luxury and comfort, it's also about control. Who gets in, who stays out, and what happens behind closed doors. With a high-tech surveillance system, a state-of-the-art security system, and a location near some of the most powerful people in business and entertainment, this home is more than just a getaway. It's a stronghold. So the real question is, could this be the most powerful home in America?